Welcome to Growing Your Team, a podcast designed for small business owners seeking to grow their company with the help of employees and contractors. Your time is limited, which means growing and leveraging teams is essential for business success. The Growing Your Team podcast is the place to learn tips and techniques designed to help you know when it's the right time to hire, how to select perfect fit team members, and how to maximize productivity while creating a positive work environment. Drawing from her 10-plus years of leadership and hiring experience, here is your host, Jamie Van Kuyk.
Hello, Jamie Van Kuyk here, and welcome back to the Growing Your Team podcast. Today, I want to talk about something that I've heard multiple clients say recently that drives me up the wall, and if you find yourself saying this, I want you to reevaluate what is going on in your business. And the sentence they say is something along the lines of, my assistant, or fill in another team position, is not the best, but. And then they typically go on to say, but I don't feel like hiring right now. They're an amazing person, and anything in there for that but statement. But they start off with telling me that their assistant or other team member is pretty much failing at their job. They're not completing assignments. One of my clients I've heard multiple times say, well, my assistant was supposed to do that, but they didn't get around to it, or they're not good at it, so I just do it myself. And why is this a problem? Because you're paying this team member to do work. This person is on your team for a reason. And that reason is for them to do the roles and responsibilities and the tasks that you defined and gave to that position when you hired that person. And if they are not the right person, then you really need to reevaluate things and say, okay, I need somebody else. You should not be keeping someone on your team just because they're already on your team. You need to have the right people on your team. And I know this is something I've talked about with so many people recently. It's kind of been alluded to on a few of our other episodes, but I wanted to pull it out and have it really be its own episode because it's so, so important. You are not hiring just to give your friends and family and that person that you connected with a job. You are hiring because you need tasks done. Typically because you need stuff off your plate, or you need stuff off a different team member's plate. And to say then, let it slide that the person that's in that position is not doing those tasks and you're still having to do them, or they're just not getting done, is not right. It is making it so then you hired someone who is not earning their paycheck. And you might sit there and say, but they're doing other things. But if they're not doing a part of the job, if they're not fulfilling all the requirements, they're not doing the whole job that you hired them to do. And that is a problem. So then you really need to evaluate. Do you need these tasks done? And do they need to belong to this position? And if the answer is yes and yes, then you need to do the hard work. And that hard work is either having the conversations about performance improvement with that team member, get them up to speed of where they need to be, or that hard work is going to be letting that team member go. I know if you let that team member go, it means you have to rehire. And hiring can be stressful. That is the reason we do what we do, is hiring is stressful, and we help at Growing Your Team take some of that stress off your shoulders. We help you through the process in multiple different ways, but we help through the process because we know what it takes to hire. But just because hiring is stressful, just because hiring takes time, is no excuse to keep someone on your team that is not performing at the level that is needed for that position, or someone that is not completing tasks that should be completed in that position. Your business is not a charity. Even if you're a nonprofit, you're not hiring people just to give them money. You're hiring people so they fulfill tasks that are needed to sustain your business or grow your business. And if they're not doing that, They're not holding up their end of the bargain, and it's time for you to say goodbye to those team members. I know it's hard to hear because there's people on the other side of those decisions. But there's a few things you have to remember here. Once again, you need things done. And if they're not the right person, then they're not the right person. And you need to focus on getting the right people on your team. And when you're a good boss overall and you show that you care about your team members overall, they will accept those decisions. So being a people-centric business is not just about keeping people on your team, even though they're not fulfilling their responsibilities. It's about being people-centric and team member-centric with everything that you do. So they value your decisions. They trust your decisions. They know if you make a decision that you've put a lot of time, thought, and effort. And yes, sometimes decisions have negative impacts on people, but it's what needs to get done. And then the other thing here is sometimes when you have people that are in positions that are not right for them, it stresses them out. They know that they're not achieving the goals. They know that they're failing in places and that you're not happy. They know that they're letting things slide. But they're trying to do well for you. And have you ever been in a position yourself where someone else is holding you accountable for things that you're not good at? And you just want to prove yourself and you want to work hard and you want to do your best, but it's just not something that you're good at. It's something that stresses you out. It's something that goes against your strengths or relies too heavily on your weaknesses that you know it's something maybe short term, that you're just there because you don't like change, or you're just there because you need to keep it until you find something else, but it doesn't make you feel good. And that could be the same thing going on with your team members. That keeping them in a position that is not right for them can be stressing them out. And sometimes your team member is looking for permission to leave. They are looking for you to say, this doesn't seem like it's the right opportunity. Maybe you should find something else. And if that's the case, you don't have to say, all right, today's your last day, goodbye. You could work on an exit plan with that team member. Say that you'll keep them on for X amount of time. You will help them find the next opportunity, but they can't stay there long term because you're noticing that it's not the right role for them, that there's areas where they're failing that are important for their role. So just remember, just because someone's on your team today does not mean they have to stay on your team. Sometimes we find that we hired the wrong people, and sometimes we find that while we hired the right person to begin with, things change. Maybe you need something new out of that role and they're not able to do it. Maybe the position grew and evolved and they just don't want to grow and evolve with the business. They were fine with what they were doing before. So sometimes it's not always that it was a bad hire. It's just that that person no longer matches the position. So if you find yourself saying, my team member is not the best, but stop at the but. Say, my team member is not the best, and I need to make a plan to either help them become the best or exit them from the company and replace them with someone who can be the best. Because remember, keeping someone on your team costs you money. And if they're not doing what they need to be doing in the role, you're not getting a positive ROI, or you're not getting as high of an ROI as you should be. So focus on getting the right people on your team, keeping the right people on your team, so that way you can be successful. You can get a good ROI for your dollars, and things can grow the way that they need to grow, because you got this. Add the right people to your team and keep the right people on your team, and you can be super successful with your business. Your team is going to be what helps you grow. Your team is going to be what helps you sustain the status quo if you're happy with where you are. Your team is going to be the ones that make it so you can work less hours. Your team is the backbone of your company, so make sure that they are the strongest backbone that you can have. And then reap the rewards of having that strong team. And of course, share the rewards with your team so you can be that people-centric boss that your team wants. Are you getting ready to hire and you wrote a job posting for your open position, but now you're left wondering, will it attract the right candidates? Hiring isn't as simple as telling people that you're hiring and having your perfect candidate show up ready to fill the role. Hiring just doesn't work that way, especially in the current market. The best candidates only apply to the positions that appear to be the right fit for them. If they don't find a connection between their job wants and your job posting, they'll skip over and go to the next opportunity. And in many cases, the reality is it's not the job isn't what they're looking for. It's that the job posting just didn't hit the mark. So is your job posting helping candidates see that your opening is right for them, or is it turning candidates away for all the wrong reasons? Let's find out. I am currently offering Will Your Job Posting Attract the Right Candidates audit. Through this audit, I will review your job posting, and I will tell you what's working and what needs to change so you can attract your ideal candidates. So if you want your job posting reviewed by an expert before it goes live, or if you have a job posting that just is not hitting the mark in the current market, sign up for an audit. Let's review it and make the changes needed so you can attract your perfect fit team member. Because remember, you can't hire a candidate who never applies for your job. And most candidates won't apply if they don't feel connected to the job posting. So let's make sure you have a job posting that will attract all the right candidates and help you make this hiring journey easier. Go to growingyourteam.com/audit and sign up for your audit today. Once again, that's growingyourteam.com/audit.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Growing Your Team with your host, Jamie Van Kuyk. Be sure to subscribe and head on over to growingyourteam.com to connect, access the show notes, and discover more ways to hire and leverage your perfect fit team.